mirror maze. In a small town, nestled between rolling hills and dense woods, there was an old carnival that opened once every 10 years. Known as the Carnival of Secrets, it was famous for its eerie attractions, whispering vendors, and a chilling maze of mirrors at its heart. Legends told that those who entered the mirror maze after dark never came out the same, or didn't come out at all. One foggy evening, 4 teenagers Lena, Max, Jules, and Sam decided to visit the carnival after hearing stories from their parents about the legendary mirror maze. The place was drenched in an unsettling charm. Colorful lights flickered inconsistently, and faint music played from nowhere, like a melody forgotten by time. Lena, the most daring of the group, led the way, dragging the others along. The mirror maze stood at the center of the carnival, wrapped in shadows and flanked by towering funhouse mirrors that distorted reality. Above its entrance hung a faded, crooked sign, "Welcome to your true self." The air around it was heavy, as if the attraction itself were alive, breathing slowly, waiting. They stepped inside, the entrance swallowing them whole. The mirrors reflected endless versions of themselves. Some smiled back, some frowned, and others stared blankly. The floor creaked beneath their feet, amplifying their every movement. The temperature dropped, and a chill ran through them, but no one spoke of turning back. "Stick together," Max said nervously, his voice echoing. But it was too late. The mirrors had already begun to work their magic. As they walked, the reflections became stranger. Sam saw himself growing older in one mirror, wrinkles deepening until he became unrecognizable. Jules saw herself laughing hysterically, her eyes wide and deranged. Lena's reflection was blurred, as if she were fading away. But Max's mirror was the worst. It showed him with eyes black as coal, staring at him with a malevolence that made his stomach turn. Then, the mirrors began to shift, sliding silently along the walls. Corridors moved, creating new paths and blocking old ones, separating the friends without them realizing. Lena called out, but her voice bounced back in twisted echoes. Max tried to run, but every turn led him deeper into the maze, confronted by a version of himself that seemed more real than his own body. Lena was the first to encounter a shadow reflection, an entity that looked just like her but moved independently. It smiled sweetly, but the smile was wrong, too wide, too forced. Lena backed away, but her reflection stepped forward, its movements unnervingly smooth. She reached out to touch the mirror, but her hand passed through cold, empty air, and the reflection grabbed her wrist. "You don't belong here," it whispered, pulling her closer. Lena's scream echoed through the maze, a sound of pure terror that chilled the bones of her friends. Max heard her cry but couldn't reach her. Every mirror showed Lena, trapped and terrified, banging against the glass, but when he tried to smash through, the mirrors only multiplied, showing infinite versions of his fear. He ran until he was breathless, turning corner after corner, chased by his own dark reflection, which grinned hungrily. Jules found herself alone, surrounded by mirrors that laughed at her. She tried to shatter them, but the broken pieces only reflected more mocking faces. The reflections began to chant in a haunting chorus, "Stay with us, stay forever." Each word was a nail in her sanity. Sam's path was eerily quiet, his reflection growing thinner and gaunter until it was skeletal. "I'm hungry," it whispered, reaching through the glass. "I need more of you." Sam turned and fled, but no matter where he went, the mirrors showed him the same haunting image himself, wasting away, starving, disappearing. After what felt like hours, Lena, Max, Jules, and Sam managed to find each other in the maze's heart. But something was wrong. Their reflections no longer mimicked their movements. Instead, they watched, eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. "We need to get out," Lena said, panic seeping into her voice. They turned toward the entrance, but it was gone, replaced by a solid wall of mirrors. The reflections began to move on their own, stepping out of the glass one by one, surrounding them. Each reflection was a twisted version of its owner, eyes dark, expressions cold, and movements predatory. "We're not supposed to be here," Max muttered, backing away. "They are." The reflections attacked, each trying to drag its counterpart into the glass. Lena fought hers off, her heart racing as the creature clawed at her. Sam's reflection was stronger, pinning him to the ground, trying to merge with him. Jules and Max struggled too, their dark counterparts laughing maniacally, enjoying the chaos. Lena spotted something, an old, tarnished mirror hanging at the maze's center. It was different from the others, framed in black iron with a strange, glowing symbol etched into its surface. The heart of the maze, she realized. "That's our way out." "Break it," Max yelled, struggling against his reflection. Lena grabbed a piece of broken glass and hurled it at the mirror. The sound of shattering glass filled the air, and the entire maze trembled as if it were wounded. The reflection screeched, dissolving into smoke and shadows, sucked back into the broken fragments. The teens collapsed to the ground, gasping for breath. The maze was gone, replaced by a simple hall of mirrors, ordinary and still. They staggered out of the carnival, haunted by the whispers that followed them until they crossed the exit. Outside, the carnival looked almost normal, as if nothing had happened. But they knew better. Each of them carried the memory of what they'd seen and what had nearly taken them. They made a pact never to speak of it, hoping that silence would keep the nightmares at bay. But as they walked away, the shattered pieces of the dark mirror slowly reassembled, the glowing symbol flickering back to life. The maze would wait, just as it always had, for the next group brave or foolish enough to seek their true selves. And in the carnival's flickering lights, the mirror maze smiled, knowing it would never be empty for long.